I spent the last week doing simulations so that I could get you guys the best builds and use cases for this Three Houses Hall of Forms. I'm really excited. We're gonna do 3 of them today. Before we get into it, you all tell me, which one of these is your favorite? Which one of these are you going to be building up? We're doing Dimitri first because you guys voted for him as your favorite of this batch, and understand that this unit is really waiting for a refine, but generally when they make refines, they stick with the spirit of the original design of the unit. What that means for this unit is that they wanted this to be a hit and run nuke. It's one of the only infantry units that can get Canto. That's fantastic. And you've got a whole bunch of other pieces that are waiting to see how they're going to put them together. But if you get skills in the Hall of Forms that honor that, you will most likely be doing well. Let's look at teams. This unit has a very clear use case. The first thing you can do with nukes is Gale Force, and I'm about to show sims on this. This actually works. So the thing you're creating here is a Wings of Mercy beacon, and Assassin Strike is really, really good. It's my favorite B skill for nukes in general, and you're gonna see why in the sims, but this unit can actually perform. I do like Ninja Naginata best, we'll show you why in just a second. Alternately, you can do a melee nuke build, and the key here is No Quarter. No Quarter is an amazing special. I've talked about it way too much on this channel. I think it is great for any unit that you want to kill things, period. What I will say is that for a lot of these builds, you will want an arcane weapon. Just know that eventually this unit will get a refine, and hopefully that will be better than an arcane weapon. So we'll try to show you some alternatives to that. We are in a golden age for nukes, where you can take just about any unit and make them blow stuff up. It's a lot of fun. Dimitri right here is using Ninja Naginata, and I will say, I know it only gives you the, I think, 4 true damage, but understand that you are trying to inch out every bit of damage you can possibly get. It's why I prefer Assassin Strike over something like Potent 4. It is about getting as much out of this unit as you possibly can. That being said, if at all possible, if you can drop off one of these Fury skills and get this unit into Wings of Mercy range another way, that's good too. As is, this unit with 3 Mythics, Treachery support from Lucina, and of course Piercing from Camilla can do a lot of damage. I've taken some of the more popular near saves here in Robin and Ephraim and Femortis, and the Brave hits really do a number on them. The one that this unit cannot deal with is Brave Edelgard, and there aren't a whole lot of units that can deal with this build. If you are in the market to build a near save, this is what you focus on. Weaving Fighter plus Flower Hot Claire is just phenomenal. It is very, very good, and you combine that with Armored Blaze and things get nasty quick. Now, what you will notice here is normally I try to put up 3 Mythics there so that we basically leave room for a bonus. In order to get all of the things you need on this unit, you're going to have to use some sort of bonus Mythic of that time because you're filling up your 2 extra slots with Lucina and Camilla. He needs that to get the job done. But look at what he does to the other popular near saves. Generally, as long as they're not running Edelgard, which every team doesn't, Edelgard is actually not that common, you're going to be fine. Let's look at the inheritance though. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit in the Discord, and one of the things with the A skill, Fury 4 can be more common than some of the other skills. If you already have that in your barracks, I am absolutely in love with bonus Doubler 4, and that skill can do a lot of damage and be a lot of fun. Be on the lookout for that if you are planning on getting Fury on him for another reason and want to do that same build. If you want to just do a nuke build, also bonus Doubler 4. It's fantastic. We talked about Assassin Strike being just flat out amazing. Attack Speed Pledge is great on this unit for any sort of Gale Force things, especially because of the Brave hits. It is more likely that this unit is going to be able to proc Gale Force. In general, you want No Quarter for your special, period. That's just going to be the way it goes. but I have included some other options. Ninja Yari is another brave weapon that I like less but can work. Ruptured Sky here is a 2 cooldown special, so possibly this could do well, or if no quarter just doesn't show up, this is something that you can fill in for that. Attack Speed Finish is another thing that you can do. Understand that you have to have a unit within 3 spaces to get the healing and true damage that comes with that. Potent 4 is best on Engage Marth. It can do some other things, but he's the one who really does well with it. Dimitri, it's more of a fun thing. That's the reason I've labeled this Toys, as well as Incite Attack Speed, which is a fantastic C skill, and if you're not trying to proc Gale Force, is a favorite of mine on this unit. If you just absolutely need to make this unit a God Lance, this is your build. I've been playing with this exact build on a couple different units, and Buffer 4 plus Godlike Reflexes is fantastic. It really does the job. Attack Speed Prime 4 is insane, and I do like, on especially the older units, I like the bonus doubler distant counter better, but that's not available here, so Attack Speed Prime is what you've got. Infantry No Follow-Up is an option. If you can get no follow-up on him another way, Time's Pulse means that Godlike Reflexes will always be ready, and really kind of makes this whole build pop if you've also got Marth support. As far as my personal target, I'll be going for the No Quarter, Bonus Doubler 4, Assassin Strike, and Attack Speed Pledge. The only reason I have Distant Counter Melee on here is because it just makes Holoforms so much easier. Can I also say that this unit has some of the best art in the game? Absolutely love it. Fallen Edelgard. Is there a unit that caused more uproar than this one? If there is, I don't know it. This unit just absolutely wrecked the game and caused ripples from even till now, looking at possibilities on this unit being on a Hero Rises and a couple of the last ones. This unit just stays annoying. And the question is, can you update this unit with skills that make her annoying once again? The answer is kind of mixed. Mostly you're going to be waiting for a refine, which is kind of the theme here. Now, Armored Wall is completely power crept, and we're going to talk about some better options there. Twin Crest Power, though, because it gives an extra action, will always be good. What I have to warn you is the Beast Transformation condition is tough. The other thing is, beasts don't get a lot of good inheritables. There's some weird things that you can't get, like Assault Troop, which makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not sure what they were trying to nerf there. But you'll see as we go on, there aren't as many options as I'd like there to be. There's also not as many Beast 4 skills as we need. Because these units don't get good inheritable weapons, IS should be providing us with better inheritables, and right now they're just not, and no one knows why. So I've got 3 distinct teams here, and the thing that you'll notice is I prefer this unit in Light Season, for really the only reason being that it has beasts. Beasts make this unit so much easier to get transformed. You don't have to wait a turn while you send her off to a corner. There are a lot of units that activate very annoying things after turn 1. You can wait for the Bolt Tower, but it just depends on what the layout of the other team is. Being able to go in on turn 1 is very advantageous, and having Asker and Ash around this unit helps just a ton. Now, this first build that you're looking at for Gale Force is Gale Force support, and the reason this is so popular, and I think you've seen this build with every FEHtuber who has covered this, is that you get 3 actions out of it. Now, this is the one I chose to do Sims on, and we'll talk about why this might not be the best thing in the world. What I will say is that Wings of Mercy 4 is incredible, and being able to throw this unit in and get 3 actions is also incredible. So you combine the 2 things, and there's a lot of potential there. Now, the Omni Tank role is probably what she was meant to be, and any sort of refine is probably going to play into this, so keep that in mind. Fire Flood Boost 3 plus Weaving Fighter, and Weaving Fighter is really, really good. I am in constant amazement getting that into Sims with how great that actually is. Past that, I've got Defense Res Ploy instead of the usual Far Savior. Most of the time, for anything but the very tip top of the meta, because Sanaki exists, you need your units more than 2 spaces away from another unit. And that means Far Saviors aren't as great. But you gotta love the stats that armors give you, and so taking advantage of that, you can put on a ploy skill and then get more debuffs on the enemy. Now, this next one is, I know this looks bizarre, but again, this unit gets another action just like OG Edelgard. The problem is this unit doesn't have the movement that OG Edelgard has, and like we just mentioned, she doesn't have access to Assault Troop. Still, you can use Smite or Warping to get this unit into position and do a lot of damage. Oftentimes though, it just takes extra actions, which takes away from the extra actions that she gave you. So I'm mixed on this. If there comes to be another way to get movement, this build becomes much better though. That's one of the reasons I have Armored Stride on her. You can wait till turn 2 and then go in, or possibly wait until the Bolt Tower goes off and then go in with her at that time. Let's look at some sims though. Okay, this is the team we just saw, and what you'll immediately notice is how much she struggles to actually kill a lot of the modern nukes. It is troublesome. There are other ways you can do this. You can get auto follow-up on her. For instance, if you play with her in Astra Season and have her next to Sather, that is something that can be very valuable. You can also get additional debuffs on the enemy. Remember, this is going to be turn 1 that I have her set up on in this particular configuration. But this is still, you would expect a little more damage out of this unit than you're getting. And in order to get Gale Force procced, sometimes you're going to have to take 2 hits to get a single unit done and then get the next action. At that point, I'm a little worried that what I would have rather had is a dancer such as Triandra. But you can make this work. You can see you're probably going to want to lean more towards Bolt Tower strategies than you are towards these. Another notable nuke that she can take out is a green, but there are fewer and fewer nukes that are just pure glass cannons. Even look at Cavasier, who has incredible damage reduction. Edelgard doesn't have the piercing to go up against her. So know that she's usable in this role, but you're going to have to take care that you have the right units left over for her to take out. As far as the skills you're looking for the Gale Force build, I'd probably go with any of the armored skills. They're very good. Armored Flow is probably my pick because I think whatever refine they're going to give her is going to be around her being an Omni Tank or some sort of ranged unit that has damage come in, especially since she has DC in her preference weapon. But attack speed wild, I mean, PM1 said it, this is not a meme. This is very good to be able to get your Gale Force procced. Wings of Mercy 4 is phenomenal. Defense Res Ploy 3, we've talked about it. All of these are fantastic. For the Omni Tank build, Weaving Fighter is the key. That is the skill you want to get for this unit and will most likely go with whatever kit she has in the future along with Armored Flow. DR Far Save, I am guessing that there is some way you're going to be able to use her in the future as a savior. I can't imagine that they leave saviors out of the meta for much longer, and they need to in some way counter Leon with either null counter disrupt or anti-burn damage. And I'm not sure which way they're going to go, but I imagine that this will be usable in the future. But like any of these kind of builds, you're taking a risk on whether the refine's going to be good or if she even gets a refine, because they do have a history of leaving the villains of the game off of the refine list. Next up is the AoE build, and you'll notice that I left Fury 4 on there. You can put some other skill on there, like maybe Life and Death, or maybe you want to go with just Attack Speed Wild just to have it. But if you're going in for the AoE specialness, Assassin Strike is the big thing that you need. Most of the other stuff you can find throughout your barracks or throughout different things that you've gotten or codes. Panic Smoke 4 is another great C skill that you can put on there if your heart desires, so I keep all these things in mind, and this unit is a lot of fun. As far as targets I'm going for, it is this Attack Speed Wild build because I think that is something that's really neat and could possibly gain a lot of value depending on what her refine is. But it is easier to convert a unit into a nuke than it is to convert a unit into an Omni Tank. Nukes generally have a way of sticking around longer because they have to worry about fewer stats than Omni Tanks. Omni Tanks have to worry about all of the stats. And the award for worst refined in the history of FE goes to... probably not this unit. There are probably other units that had it worse. But as far as the expectations were, this unit has a tough time finding a place. We're going to talk about that. The good news is Sirius Plus is actually a good special that provides a lot of different things to you. Specifically, Null Guard is very nice. Now, Sublime Surge is okay. This was at the time when for some reason DC weapons just got absolutely smacked on as far as quality of refines. I still blame most of that on the fact that Sothis is an Omni tank set up as a defense mythic, which I still have no clue why IS did that. This was the hardest unit to sim and took me a bit to get figured out. The first build I've got is just for AR defense, and the thing is, most people have to use this unit for that reason because she's a bonus at that time. You can get Sublime Surge refined so that you don't have to spend any stones on that. Fire Flood boost is pretty fantastic and provides guard as well as HP to help you with the Infantry Pulse 4 condition that's going to happen there. So you can see kind of how this unit does as she jumps in front or even stays behind, uses the Ruse skill to get guard and other debuffs, and shenanigans happen. The problem is she really can't take a hit, so that's going to be difficult. Now, the Chaos bonus is kind of interesting, and that is a place that you can use her as an Omni tank as she is intended. It's just very hard for Omni tanks. What I will say is the combination of Gatekeeper and Hortensia support is something magical. You can keep away from your unit and support them very, very easily this way. I do have Elamine up there to stop any shenanigans that are happening. You can make this work, you just have to watch out for Leon, but then again, doesn't everybody? The last one here is my favorite, and the theory on how exactly this works is basically you get instant Sirius. And you're gonna see in just a second how well this works, but this unit right off the bat, the first hit smacks someone with Sirius, and most of the time that does enough damage for a lot of your medium to light glass units to shatter, and you get rid of them in arena. The problem is the score. 756 is very low. That's very hard to work with. Just for reference, having a mythic dancer like Peony, you score 754. If you have a Racing, they score 756. Keep that in mind, and the other reason I put this up here though, there are other modes that you score with this unit like Milner's Strike. So if you have a +10, this unit still scores in certain areas, and you may even need to use them just in a pinch in Allegiance battles. I don't know. You can use Dark Mythics as bonus units without blessing them, so that is nice. Now this is what I'm talking about, and we did something similar with Ryoma where we basically took Ryoma and got to pick off all of the units that you otherwise couldn't take out. This unit does that job better. A lot of that is because of the skills available to her. A lot of it's because of Sirius Plus, which, like I said, is better than you give it credit for. Now, the thing that this is missing, for some reason in the unit builder right now, in the condensed version, it doesn't show Marth support. So that is a thing that you're using to get that instant Sirius, but you take out Camilla, Leon, Cyril, who is not easy to take out, surprisingly. You do take out Sanaki, and of course you take out Corrin. The units that she struggles with are going to be units like Alir, who are designed to take a hit. Like, she's not going to be taking out the Byleths. She's going to absolutely get smoked by them. Same thing with Duo Asker. Like, she's just not going to be able to do that work. You can see kind of how this unit can be used. It just would be so much easier if you didn't have to use DC in the seal. But let's talk about the inheritance you can get. Okay, this lines up pretty well. For defense support, you've got the Fire Flood Boost 3, which I'm a huge fan of. Attack Speed Ruse 4. If you want some other support skill, you can get it there, but I like that one best. And then Infantry Pulse 4 is critical on that to be able to support some of your other team. If you want, you could also do like an Infantry Null follow-up. That one works pretty well, but it depends on how many infantry units you have on your defense. Most people right now don't have a ton. For the Omni Tank role, you're probably wondering why I don't have Attack Speed Scowl, and the reason is you need high res for that. Most of the units that she's going to be worried about nuke-wise, which is Duo Sanaki and Duo Leon, both have very high res that Scowl is not going to take effect versus them. It means that it's not all that great on her. That includes Dragon's Roar, which isn't available on this batch, but really wouldn't have been good on her anyways because it does have that res check with it. The last one here is of course your arena build, and I've talked about how much I love bonus doubler 4. Occultist Strike is amazing and Times Pulse 4 is nice, although I like Infantry Pulse 4 better. It kind of depends on what your makeup is. Most of the time I find that you don't go in and have to attack more than one unit with this type of hero. You're trying to clean up that one more unit that's just being trouble, and so she comes in and smacks some unit with Infantry Pulse 4 so she gets serious and then helps support her other team, which you are likely to have infantry units in your arena team, but I wanted to show some variety there. So you can do either or. The big thing for her is that Occultist Strike. That's what really makes this build. It's also worth noting that she can't really take advantage of any kind of dual skill, so she will always have her A to herself. This is what I'll be going for, and I am a big Sothis fan, even though her unit is arguably the worst defense mythic we have, period. I love her and I can't help it, and this is a way you can actually use her in arena, so I'm a fan of this build. Again, we talked about Infantry Pulse 4, and I don't know why I put the Distant Counter D seal on there. I guess that was just to remind myself how you have to have it on there, and that's kind of terrible. But anyway, let's talk about what's coming up next, because I want you to be able to save your Formas for units that you really love. So if one of these units doesn't strike your fancy, you have Fjorm coming up, and Fjorm actually benefits a ton from all of the new skills and everything, along with Gunthra. Both of these units can be very good, and I am anxious to get a hold of them and be able to build them up. But what is going on with May? So we have Fjorm and Gunthra confirmed. Unless they shuffle things around, but this close they normally don't. And we have a possibility of Hrid. That's a lot of special units in one batch, so be on the lookout for that, and we'll talk about it as it gets closer. As far as November, it's the only time where we have units that could possibly be there, and I cannot wait because I love either one of these, and I will love to build either Hector or Edelard. With that, if you're interested in what's going on in the meta right now, I just released a meta report. Go check it out. I always enjoy hearing you guys' feedback and what your take is on what you are seeing right now. Members, thank you so much. You are absolutely amazing. This was a ton of work, and you guys have been asking for more Forma builds, so I tried to get those in there. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.